The PAC names a third media partner.
Media deals are always in the news, so we're back on the big mountain to keep you updated.
Hey, welcome back to the mountain. I am JY. This is my good friend Steve, and the PAC announced last Thursday, November 13th, that USA Network is going to be their third media rights partner with the new PAC that starts July 1st, 2026. Of course, they had already previously announced that CBSSN, and the CW would be partners. So let's break this down just a little bit more. All three of these media rights deals follow the PAC grant of rights. That goes through 2030-31. So that's about a 5-year grant of right period, or 6-year, I guess it would be, grant of right period for the new PAC. The USA Network here is going to show 22 regular season football games, 50 regular season men's basketball games, and 5 to 10 women's basketball games. Also, USA Network will be home to the men's PAC basketball tournament. Of course, the men's championship game has already been given. Those rights have been given to CBS. So the tournament, everything, the quarters and semis will be on USA Network. Commissioner Gould had said that the PAC, of course, wanted this transformational partners, and that was really kind of her go-to. Now the PAC has kind of rebranded that into a concept that they're calling where tradition meets transformation. So the tradition of the PAC with, I guess, the transformation of the PAC, I guess is what they're getting at there. For football, here we'll break this out for you. 13 games on CBS and CBSSN. That's going to be about 1 per week during the football season. The CW also has 13 games, again, about 1 per week. So the USA Network here adds 22 games, or about 2 games per week. So about 50%, a little bit less than 50% of the football games are going to be shown here on USA Network. That championship game is on CBS. This means that every PAC football game, regular season and championship game, will be on linear TV. About half of the men's basketball games will be on USA Network as well. The PAC states that about 70% of men's basketball will also be on linear broadcasting. And women's basketball is going to have about 20 to 25 games broadcast on linear. The CW has the championship game for the women's basketball in the PAC. The Pac-12 enterprises are going to be utilized for game broadcast production. The PAC states that this will be in excess of 150 broadcasts across all of the sports and the different media partners. It's also important to note here that the USA Network is being spun off from Comcast into a new company called Versent. I guess I'm saying that right, Versent. And this new company is going to have CNBC, MSNBC, the Golf Channel, Sci-Fi, and of course USA Network. That's going to be who's in this new Versent spin-off company. NBC and Peacock are staying with Comcast and not being spun off into this new company. And that all is supposed to be finalized, from what I read, like early 2026. So a few months out. You're already starting to see some of that. I think MSNBC just announced they're going to be something new now, too. They're changing the name. So everybody's rebranding stuff. So anyway, Steve, I have a few more things I want to talk about, but I just want to get your take on kind of, the three partners that they have, and USA Network being, the third media partner.
Well, I'm guessing that it was very important for them to all be on some form of linear TV, because they pointed that out, and obviously that's what their package is. I'm glad that they finally have it done. I think from a broadcast exposure side, the entire package, including this part, for them is good from that exposure standpoint.
Yep.
Now, until we see like numbers and all that kind of stuff, you can never tell, how great of a deal it is or not. But if that was one of their main goals was to have as much exposure as possible, I think they did pretty good with that. And what I'll say, so I read an article today about that. It was on Sportico.
Okay.
About the whole spin-off and how they were saying it was supposed to be a total different entity. Well, they're also bringing back NBC Sports Network.
Okay.
And I think that might be part of the new Versent. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Which part it's going to be, but. What Sportico was saying is the whole spin-off thing, it's more about a financial thing, and it might not actually be fully, and they gave a few examples of why it might not be fully separate.
Okay.
And they were talking about some of the games on other things potentially being on Peacock.
Okay.
Even though, they, like simulcast, where they're on this one network, and maybe they're also on Peacock or something like that.
Okay.
So I think we need to look out for that and see, how that works. It's always hard to keep track of these companies, these media companies, and how they rename, merge, break off, and it's all about stockholder equity and all that kind of crap.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is what
business.
It's business. It's dollars.
Yeah.
But I think they're probably happy, at least with the exposure side. Now, again, you can't come to a verdict on it until you have numbers,
right?
Because that's what it comes down to: is how much is the total deal and how much is each member getting. But overall, I think they accomplished some of their goals. And the whole what was it? Inspirational change, or what was
transformational?
It? Yeah. I mean, I can't really see that they fulfilled that. And I think that was always, I kind of think that was always kind of a weird pie in the sky thing anyways.
Sure.
Because if you think of something transformational, to me, MLS with their deal with Apple TV was transformational, totally different.
Yeah.
This is not like that, but honestly, it might be better from the exposure side than any truly transformational thing. I don't know if that was the best messaging before. So if you take that out and say, just forget about the whole transformational.
Yeah.
I know they came out with this new thing, but
where
I think
tradition meets transformation.
Yeah. I think it's good to be on multiple networks.
Yeah.
We saw that with the Big Ten, and it's worked out good for them. It's worked out good for some other conferences. So I like those parts of the deal.
Well, and I think, without sounding too much like I'm bashing the PAC, the fact that they have had to kind of transform, pun intended, their verbiage on that tells you, I think, originally they wanted something transformative. And they never defined what that meant, whether that meant streaming or multi or whatever it was. Linear TV isn't transformational. It's great exposure. Everything you said is spot on. But I think they even had to maybe redefine what they were getting from the market versus what their expectations were, maybe resetting their goals. And now clearly, I mean, they're banging the drum from the exposure piece, which is 100% true in the case. It's great. You get all football games on linear TV, assuming you get the CW, USA Network, and the CBS SN. You're good to go. So that is what they should be, kind of being out in front of and saying is kind of championing their transformation of what they got in the media package. It's just, to your point, it's not what I think of when you hear the word transformational. But
agreed. And I have two other thoughts real quick.
Yeah.
One is on that, I think, and again, I think what they ended up with was good.
Yeah.
But I think this is another example of Teresa Gold kind of getting out, and her team getting out in front of themselves early and over promising to the point where, even though this is a good deal, some people might look at this as under delivering because it's not. And I think we've seen a couple of examples of that. Now, I do want to say, I do think I'm glad to see the PAC Enterprise.
Yes.
So they're still utilizing that. At one point, they were thinking about selling it off and whatever.
Right.
And I think that gives them flexibility and some ownership because they're going to basically produce everything.
Right.
And the other networks don't, like USA Network, they didn't have football production,
Right.
And so this kind of allows that deal to happen where, the PAC in their enterprise, they can kind of produce it in-house, and this USA Network gets a turnkey product. It's someone that's already producing it, getting the cameras in place, and doing all that stuff for them. So
right.
I think that's a good thing going, but it's not flashy, transformational.
Sure,
it's so anyways.
Well, I think, and I'm going to get back to that a little bit. There are a couple other items I want to make sure we talk about, and Boise State Athletic Director Dickey made some comments about this that I'm going to bring up. The first thing, they really are focused on the exposure piece. Another thing that they're focused on is that they're going to be getting their kickoff times for all of their football games in the preseason.
Love it.
So that's another thing. I mean, Jeremiah Dickey talked about this as well. Those are really the two things they're focused on in these announcements, And AD Dickey, said recently here that the industry, in his wording, has kind of forgotten about the fans, the fan experience. And he's saying that knowing the kickoff times in the preseason is going to be a huge benefit to the program, in his terms, or in his mind, the team as well. And it should lead to a better fan experience, being able to plan for some of these games and whatnot, home games. Dickey also says the PAC went for max reach and exposure. We clearly see that. As of now, to your point, Steve, we have no idea what the values are. We're not going to speculate on that. Anybody that says they know, quite frankly, they're lying. Nobody knows. Just like nobody was talking about USA Network as a potential partner for the PAC. Completely off the table. And I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. Yeah. Completely off the table. So again, if anybody's giving values right now, they have no idea what they're talking about. And we're not going to speculate tonight on that at all. I don't want to get down that path. Also, to your other point about the Pac-12 enterprises, we don't know the value that that's bringing, both in terms of reducing the cost to these media partners so that they're getting more upfront revenue, and the benefits of what they're doing with the Pac-12 enterprises right now. And Dickey commented on that, and he said that the conference has to figure out, quote, how to use the Pac-12 enterprises differently than what they have been doing, unquote. So they're still kind of figuring out what exactly is the PAC enterprises? How can we best profit from the PAC enterprises? And so they're still trying to figure that out. Dickey just said that there a couple days ago. Anything there, Steve? And then I just want to talk about the USA Network announcement.
Yes. So I would just say, I mean, AD Dickey, we've known him a while, and we've known him to be a very, very good communicator.
Oh, yeah.
I think a very good leader. I think he's got big things. I'm sure I know he loves his job as the athletic director at Boise, but I think he has big things in front of him, and I think he's doing while we've criticized the conference for their communication.
Sure.
I think AD Dickey, it's clear he's a very good communicator, good leader, and the more you can have him putting out the message instead of the league office, the better.
Well, I think that's what's happening. I mean, who and the PAC, I just went on the PAC's X page because their X page has been happening over the last 5 days. It was pretty quiet for quite a long time. Now they're getting a lot going on. But who's out there in front of this giving an interview? Jeremiah Dickey.
Exactly.
Jeremiah Dickey.
And that's a good thing now.
To me, I'd be saying, hey, AD Wicker in San Diego State, go worry about your football team. Please don't say anything. Yeah. Lord knows the messes he's made.
Yes.
But as I call him, ADJD, is absolutely a great leader. He's got a good message, and he is the guy that they need to lean on to put these things out. I think he speaks as well as anybody. I think AD Classy does as well, but he's still a little bit of a new guy there in Fresno. And so, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think he is their spokesman kind of right now because he's able to do it, and he's able to do it in a way that's promoting the conference and not maybe, stepping on his words a little bit.
Absolutely. And he's a good communicator, but he doesn't give like corporate marketing speech.
Right. No.
He's talking about the things that are important. What, the fans, how can we better service the fans, all of those things. Yep. And I think those are the important things instead of some, corporate mumbo jumbo speak.
Right. And it's why everyone at the Blue loves their ADJD. I get it. So the last thing I just want to point out briefly. So there was an announcement from USA that I found that was on November 12th. So a day before this came out with the PAC. And it said kind of this announcement of this new USA Sports, as they're calling it. The announcement said USA Network and Golf Channel have, and this is directly from the quote or from the blurb, scored a game-changing opportunity for sports fans. Get ready because the extravaganza of basketball, golf, motorsports, wrestling, volleyball, and soccer is coming to TV in 2026. The parent company, Versent, has announced the creation of USA Sports, is what they're calling it, a new brand encompassing more than 10,000 hours of programming. And they say, with amped up coverage of NASCAR, WWE, the PGA Tour, the Premier League, the WNBA, and more. So if PAC fans are saying, well, what is all going to be on USA Sports? The day before this was announced, you've got NASCAR, soccer, golf, WNBA, and WWE. And so that's what it looks like is going to be the primary focus of USA Sports as they're rebranding it there, Steve.
And I will I got a few thoughts there.
Yeah.
Well, my first thought is about half of that is that corporate gobbledygook we were just talking about.
Right.
But there is some good substance in
That's
there.
why I brought it up.
Yes.
I know some of it's corporate, PR mumbo
Yes.
jumbo, but I agree. I thought there was some good substance.
Yeah, they're telling us, what channels it's going to be on,
Yeah.
what they're going to have.
Yeah.
And I will say, English Premier League, okay, incredibly valuable, and it's weekends, so they have it Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you, for Saturday mornings, there's a lot of just like general sports fans, that they like every kind of sport.
Right.
They're not just like hockey and football
Right.
or this and that. They like a lot of different sports. There's a lot of them. And I think, depending on how they work the lineup, that could be a fantastic lead-in. Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, there's a Premier League game, ends about 11:30.
Yep.
They roll right into their coverage of college football, PAC college football. That could be a fantastic, and I think even in the spring they have it, which could lead into basketball.
Sure.
So that pairing there could work out for them pretty well.
All right. Well, there is the heads up and the breakdown of the PAC media agreement. Of course, these are the three that we know of. There might be a fourth that's just, kind of floating on some of the basketball stuff. But these are absolutely the main three: USA Network, CBS, CBS, and the CW. With that, hey, thank you guys for watching this. We'll continue to follow the PAC-12 as they continue their rebuild. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you like our content. And we'll see you next time on the Big Mount.